My name is Carl Anthony, and I work in the automotive industry in Detroit. Sometimes that work encompasses future vehicle technology, and that's what we talk about here, for the most part anyway. This is AutoVision News Radio. There is an old saying in racing, win on Sunday and sell on Monday. Few lived that mantra so well as Lotus founder Colin Chapman, who built his first car in 1948. Chapman's core philosophy is still at the heart of Lotus, to design elegant, lightweight cars with exceptional ride and handling. Drivers around the world know and love Lotus for this very reason. Lotus cars are fast and they're exciting. So ADAS technology may not be the first thing that comes to mind when talking about Lotus, but that is soon to change. Paolo Foglino is the head of ADAS at Lotus Cars Limited. He was born in a little village in northwestern Italy and graduated from Polytechnic of Turin in 2009 as a mechanical engineer with a master's in automotive. Paolo has held roles in vehicle dynamics in Italy for Fiat Chrysler Automobiles and joined Jaguar Land Rover in the UK as an autonomous emergency braking system engineer in 2015. ADAS and active safety have been part of his life ever since. Paolo joins us today on AutoVision News Radio. Paolo, welcome and so glad to have you.
Hello, Cal. Thank you. Really delighted.
It is. I'm so excited to meet you. And I met you through the organizers of the ICA Summit, where you recently did a presentation. I'm excited to get into that. But first, Paolo, tell us about the work that you do at Lotus as the head of ADAS.
Indeed. Sure, Cal. I'm responsible for the active safety and comfort driving at Lotus UK for features, systems, hardware, and software deliverables. And indeed, I'm looking after the entire ADAS team, making sure that their workload and objectives are balanced and understood. Ultimately, I'm also driving the vision, the enhancement, and the evolution of ADAS strategy at Lotus UK.
So, Paolo, when we think of ADAS, we tend to think of sedans and SUVs and crossovers, your average everyday volume selling vehicles as opposed to sports cars. So, Paolo, the first question here, why is it important to have modern ADAS technology for sports cars? And then second to that, what are some of the benefits for the demographic that Lotus is targeting?
It's a very educational question, Carl, because it comes to mind every day. And Lotus is launching the most accomplished cars that have been ever made by Lotus. Features available on the new Emira includes cruise control, parking assist like reverse parking sensor with front sensor and reverse camera as an option. And as we know indeed that for federals is standard fitment. Advanced driver assistance systems, so ADAS is available on the Emira and includes features like adaptive cruise control, anti-collision system, fatigue alert, roadside information, vehicle speed limiter, lane departure warning, auto hiding, rear cross traffic alert, lane change assist, and lots of convenience and comfort features. So Lotus is focused on an everyday sports car that sets new standards for practicality, comfort, and functionality. Customers from all over the world, I'm sure indeed they will be surprised and delighted with the level of comfort and desirability for total convenience over long distance cruising.
And I can see that, definitely. On a long drive in a beautiful Lotus vehicle, the benefits that ADAS can have. But what about the difficulties of integrating ADAS into a sports car, particularly when it comes to packaging? So what are some of the challenges, Paolo, that you and your team have found regarding this?
Yeah, good question, Carl. And my team, they know indeed. So packaging is a significant challenge into sports cars. Design constraint push the position of the orientation of the sensor to the specification limits. We can group them in three categories, for example. I like to also visualize in that way: vision cameras, radars, and ultrasonic sensors. So we look at ADAS and parking. The lower ride height position and the contamination requires really a deep dive level of assembly to make sure full performance are achieved. We have extensive activities on the face curvature of the B-surface of the bumpers and the compliance of the materials that require multiple simulations. and the number of testing iterations that we have done and the team extensively tested. If we now consider ultrasonic sensor, there are also major challenges regarding the design of the holders of the sensor and the connector of the variants as well, because you may have straight connector, 90-degree connectors. The usage of it is different because there is a limited areas available, especially due to harnesses and other complexity in the car. Sports cars means powerful engine, as we know, and performance that generates a lot of heat. And this needs to be considered with really high importance. Heat shields and form materials, for example, needs to be designed in the proper way to overcome any issue can be related when you are facing a sensor that is closer to an exhaust.
All of the parameters and configurations that go into a sports car, especially a Lotus, and to meet that discerning buyer of customers. So let's go just a little bit deeper. What's your insight, Paolo, on how to successfully implement these new ADAS technologies despite all of these parameters that a Lotus customer may have?
Believe it or not, Cal, we cannot forget a sports car has got 2 seats.
Right.
And this is really so important for the ADAS sensors. The functionality and the performance needs to be aligned with the fact that we've got 2 doors. Because simply, if we take the sensor and their usage as 4 doors, they simply will not work, and they will not work effectively enough.
Right.
So the end of line, the specification, the guidelines, everything needs to be set up in the right way since the beginning of the project. And there are also dynamic parameters that are changing a lot from a sports car point of view. That could be the braking performance. We are reaching high level of braking performance with the sports car, and also lateral G-force that is different for the bicycle model that we're going to create. We need to package all the kit and instrumentation logging into a sports car, where normally into a 4x4 and into a SUV, you put it in the boot. The logging equipment, I will tell you, the workshop will know everything about them because they will need an hard, extensive work to package it based on the design that they're going to receive from the CAD engineers from ADAS and making sure that they're well prepared and equipped in the car. Sometimes we have also noticed that we need a hub and a vehicle support so we can carry those parts, equipment, or everything that we need that we can package into a sports car.
And Paolo, you had mentioned this a second ago. When I imagine a sports car or a performance car like a Lotus, I always think of how important it is within the vehicle's key systems to reduce thermomechanical loads. ADAS systems, how are they impacted by thermomechanical loads and heat, and why is this a necessary challenge then to address?
Absolutely, and this is really close to me as well because I was responsible of overlooking camera that is inside of the interior cabin. And when you have a sports car, as you know, the cabin is really small. We normally have hot countries as our region of markets. We have to make sure that the design, the interior components needs to be designed and released in the specification to get them cool. So relinking the answer to the previous question that we have a rear engine with really low short exhaust that is mounted close to rear sensors. We are basically going through this within simulation, testing, iteration, and verification in high thermal load scenarios. So this is really important that everything is packaged with ventilation and within the right specification.
With all of the validation testing, Paolo, that you have to do, can you share with our listeners some of the key insights that you've discovered during all of your validation and testing?
Absolutely. It's a really very ad hoc question, Carl, because small volumes, it basically means optimization of validation. Mm-hmm. And this is really a key aspect.
Yes.
We concentrate most in testing that we can apply on lab cars, for example, or on the rig. Also, we have specific use cases that we want to concentrate more and can be executed in an enclosed environment like proving ground. Indeed, we have our road testing that we also need to consider. A key aspect, a key important element is that we harmonize the vehicle's allocation within other areas to get the best uses of the cars. because we can't consider that the cars are ADAS only.
Right.
And within the testing, we do also into the flexibility of the tuning, into the agile to change those parameters so we can make changes faster within the field. Another things that finance will always know about it is the validation is of small volumes normally have a lot of cost on a sports car. It's important that timing are compressed and the cost needs to be matched to have a positive business case. A really important topic in this extent is that we have collaboration, we have carryover, so that the business case can be good and positive and approved.
Everybody who loves cars and who is an enthusiast has a favorite Lotus. Paolo, what is your favorite Lotus car and why?
I was wishing for this question, Carl. So I actually, it is the best question, and I actually have two.
Okay.
So the first one is the 97T John Player Special, and is the Formula car that made the entrance of Ayrton Senna at Lotus. And this is something that is sent me really back to my core, to my youth, and is imprinted in my memories because I was watching it with my dad. And the other one is indeed the Emira, because I started working with Lotus on this project, and it's like, the first love, it will always be with you. You will never forget it.
I have so enjoyed our conversation. There is so much to consider when designing a sports car, and I think it's amazing that you are changing that notion that sports cars and ADAS do go hand in hand. Paolo, thank you for your insight. Thank you for your thought leadership and sharing your expertise. From all of us at AutoVision News, we want to wish you the best of luck going forward.
Thank you. Thanks to you, Carl, and to all our viewers and all your readers, everyone that will listen to this podcast. Has been a pleasure.
For more information on Lotus Cars, visit lotuscars.com. That's lotuscars.com. For more information on the engineering consultancy division, visit lotusengineering.com. That's lotusengineering.com. And to see beautiful pictures of the latest Lotus vehicles, follow them on Twitter and LinkedIn. In Detroit with Paolo Foglino, I'm Carl Anthony, AutoVision News Radio.